Hello, Stephen.
Hello.
Stephen, good to talk to you. You've got AI answering your telephone.
Oh, I don't know what's going on with that. I tried to answer twice and it just hung up on me anyway. But here we are.
Doesn't matter. This is can I call it a red letter day? I don't know. I would have thought when you float a company, an IPO or whatever they call the things, timing would be everything, wouldn't it?
And I think the timing of the SpaceX IPO is perfect. It's right at the absolute top of the AI bubble. And I think in years to come, we'll look back at this moment as the craziest moment at the top of the bubble, because how you can raise 75 billion US dollars for a business that's got 41 billion of accumulated losses and is burning cash and losing 5 billion a year, and is valued as the seventh most valuable company in the world at 1.75 trillion dollars. So, a lot of people are saying they've never seen anything like it. It makes no sense. All of the other trillion-dollar companies make enormous profits. This one makes enormous losses. But Elon Musk's ability to sell a vision, sell a dream, has, Tesla shares valued at more than all other motor car companies combined, even though it doesn't make that much money, but it's all about, robotics and autonomous cars and all this sort of stuff that he talks. And colonizing Mars and everything else is backing this valuation at $1.75 trillion.
Well, we have one of the great marketing and advertising gurus in the world at this table at the moment, Andrew Killey. What do you make of that, Andrew? You've got a company that is not making any money. I don't know about losing money, but it's not making any money, yet people are going to scramble to get a piece of it.
I wish they were around when I was starting up. It would have been handy. I don't get it. No, it goes against everything I've been taught about, funding and all that sort of thing. But I'm a simple country copywriter, so.
Yes, of course you are.
Yeah.
But Elon Musk seems to have he seems to have been blessed.
Yeah, he
can do no wrong.
Yeah, and he's got this great persona about him, doesn't he?
Would he make a good presenter?
Well, he'd only do it for himself, and he does do that. He does a good job.
I suppose he does. Yeah, but Stephen, with that crash yesterday, won't that affect people's confidence in the whole thing?
Well, it sort of all got reversed today. So our market today is now up over 100 points after Wall Street recovered like 900 points. So Wall Street was down 900 and now up 900. And yes, it did have a big bump. The NASDAQ was down like 4% last Friday. But so there's been a few wobbles, like, people are starting to say this is a bit crazy. Google came out and raised $80 billion, and people are going, what? Since if everything's great, what's Google doing raising $80 billion? And then there was talk that Facebook was going to raise $40 billion, but look, right now, overnight it went up. So I think that when the SpaceX shares come on tomorrow, or tonight, our time, I should say, it might do okay. It might trade above the 135, but the real test will be in sort of 6 to 12 months' time, when all the insiders are allowed to sell their shares. And when they keep reporting massive losses, and then you see insiders selling billions of dollars worth of shares to cash in, that's where I think it'll be trading at less than half the $135 offer price. I mean, they raised money 12 months ago at a valuation of $800 billion. And then how's the thing more than doubled in 12 months? I mean, they're just selling it to millions of retail shareholders. I mean, 30,000 CommSec customers have taken this up. I was amazed that ASIC even approved the prospectus, let alone CommSec emailing their 3 million customers. Sober old CommSec, owned by the Commonwealth Bank. I mean, this is how powerful they are. Normally calm, sensible operators like ASIC and CommSec are just rolling out the red carpet because Elon Musk is so powerful and this transaction is so large, he can get away with stuff that no one else can get away with.
So people are not buying so much the shares, they're buying him. or Blue Sky, or
Yeah, they are, mate. Well, he sells a big blue sky story. You know, he literally his bonus rises if he can get 1 million people living on Mars. That literally is in the document. There's all these pictures of rockets. Like, total addressable market is $30 trillion. It's just a work of fiction. The prospectus, but because he has lowered the cost of launching rockets by 95%. I mean, introducing the concept of reusable rockets means that he's the number one rocket launcher all over the world. And this has opened up all sorts of opportunities in space. And the Starlink business, you know, he's got more than 9,000 satellites up there. And he's got the Starlink business would be worth, you know, 300 billion. It's offering internet to people in remote places in 160 countries. I mean, it's an incredible business. The Tesla car is an incredible car. Everyone thought the US motor industry was stuffed. It was all going to China and offshore. And all of a sudden, the Tesla's worth more than all the other cars combined. So he's got a better track record than anyone else. And he talks a big game. And he's a rich guy. He's the richest guy in the world. He'll be a trillionaire on paper tomorrow when the thing closes. So he's got a scoreboard where he is incredible. He is the most successful entrepreneur and creator. And then when he makes claims, people believe it. And so far, he has been able to deliver on much of it. Investors in Tesla have made a fortune. But I just think he jumped the shark on this one, saying that on the first day it's a public company, it's the 7th most valuable company in the world. I mean, he should have floated this thing much more modestly, because it's going to be impossible to sustain.
Yeah, is it like the tulip business back in the 1700s, where people just simply believed that a tulip bulb was the best investment you could lay your hands on?
It is, yeah. Look, I think it is a bubble. I mean, it's like when the peak of the railways bubble in the US, the railway stocks were 60% of the stock market in the US. Now, at the moment, the AI stocks have got to 40% of the market, the top 10 AI stocks before you add in SpaceX. So, but look, you know, the likes of NVIDIA are making a fortune, and the chip makers, they're enjoying profit margins of like 70%. So there's a bubble in chips, but I don't think and you've got all the traditional big tech like Microsoft and Google, who just have great tech businesses in internet search and, you know, Windows 95 and all that sort of stuff. So there's great, big, profitable companies, the best we've ever seen, funding this boom and buying all the chips, building all the data centers. So it is sort of real to a degree, but it's not sustainable overall. And the SpaceX element of it is just a disaster. I mean, SpaceX is competing in the AI space, yet they're miles behind all the other players in AI. But they're saying, because AI is the big thing, they're saying we're basically an AI company and we're losing billions doing it because Grok's only got 1.5% of the market.
Well,
how's it going to compete with the other players?
There's only so much money, I imagine, at any one time available, speculative money. Is there enough to support the launch of OpenAI? What was the other one?
Well, Anthropic.
There's
3 of them. Yeah, $3 trillion floats in the space of 1 year.
Is that?
I mean, that's
right?
never happened before. Well, this is the big test, because in the last 3 years in the US market, the amount of money raised through IPOs has been 20 billion, 30 billion, and 44 billion. And now you've got one deal at 75 billion, and we're talking 300 billion across these 3 new companies, all claiming to be sort of in that $1 trillion league or thereabouts. I mean, Apple only became the first $1 trillion company, I think, in 2018. And now there's 13 of them. Most of them are AI related. So, look, I don't think it's going to be sustainable. I think that Anthropic's got the best business in their software and enterprise-based software. So they are booming. Like, their revenues are already sort of 45 billion a year annualized. I think they've got the best real business. I think OpenAI is going to struggle, but OpenAI just raised 120 billion in the private market. So their ability to raise money, both privately and publicly, is incredible. But whether they can ever actually generate a return on the hundreds of billions that people are putting in, that's the bit that I don't think is going to work. There's just not enough customers out there who are going to pay to justify the people who put hundreds of billions of dollars into these 3 new IPOing companies in SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anthropic.
So they're not going to get a return on their investment?
the people who overall have put all this money into them, I don't think are going to get a return on their investment, particularly OpenAI, because I mean it's competitive. There's like 5 or 6 big players all competitive. These guys are taking on some of the biggest companies in history. But the biggest companies in history are investing in these new companies. So, Microsoft's is the biggest shareholder in OpenAI with 25%. Google owns 7% of SpaceX. But they only paid $900 million in 2015. So they're going to have a stake worth $70 billion when the shares come on tomorrow. So they're all intertwined. They're all investing in each other. So this big sort of circular arrangement, that's the bit that I think they're not all going to survive because they're all competing for the same thing, which is just tech domination in AI. And this is where SpaceX is like the 5th or 6th biggest player. It's just so far behind Anthropic and OpenAI and Google and the others. That's where I think that it's a race to be the biggest and best because it's they're all going for world domination in AI. The chip makers are making a fortune because they're sort of the picks and shovels of the gold boom. Like everyone needs chips, so they're making a fortune. The chip makers are making a fortune, but the people building these models and selling these tokens and hoping everyone's going to have 3 online agents and everyone's going to pay thousands of dollars for their own online agent that'll run their life. That's the part of the business model that people haven't seen justified because there have to be millions of people lose their jobs literally just to make the economics of that work. And we haven't seen the mass job losses yet that says that all the money is instead going from wages to these big AI frontier hyperscaler operators.
And your general advice would be don't touch it with a barge pole.
Well, I heard a great line, I think it was Howard Marks, who said that if you light a match and run through a fireworks factory, you're still an idiot if you get out alive. So, look, I've put $2,000 into the SpaceX float through ComSec, but I've done that as a journalistic experience. I want to see how I get scaled back and how I get treated, all this sort of stuff. So, look, people, the shares may go up in the short term, but if the shares are still holding up and the thing is making tens of billions of profits in 3 years' time, then I'll be the first to say I'm the idiot and everyone should have backed Elon Musk, but he'll be a paper trillionaire like we've never seen before, and enormous power comes with that, and he's been able to leverage that power in all sorts of interesting ways so far, and he doesn't mind throwing his weight around, and he's just incredible. So this is one of the most amazing acts in capitalism. I mean, never in the history of capitalism have people paid so much to receive so little. I mean, they've been given 4.26% of the company, and Elon Musk's shares are 10 votes a share, and the shares we're buying are 1 vote a share. So it's a gerrymander as well.
He set it up well, yeah.
We've all been sucked in. He controls the thing. He controls 82% of the votes after taking $75 billion from the punters. It's amazing.
Stephen, thank you so much. One final question. Why do they call these things floats when most of them sink?
Well, it's a good point. I mean, it's an initial public offering, so it's an offering of shares to the public for the first time.
Yeah.
A float, I don't know. It's a bit like why do they call it scrip? I can't explain it. But maybe it's a float because the shares float up and down. You can actually trade the things because they're liquid.
Yeah.
But this one's going to sink in the long term, in my view. But we'll see.
Have you made a lot of money out of shares?
Look, over the years on the capital raisings, probably maybe 300,000. But I've spent so much flying around the country going to 1,500 AGMs that I don't have much to show for it. Put it that way, Jeremy. There's not a lot of money in going to 300 AGMs a year, annoying companies. I mean, no one pays you to do that.
Well, you've got to be careful because there are a lot of people who might want you out of the way.
Yes. If I was in Russia, I'd be in a box by now. That's for sure.
Well, I wouldn't be drinking the tea. I'd have somebody tasting it before. The biscuits might be okay, but
yeah, that's.
Stephen, thank you very much.